What's going on, YouTube? How you guys doing? Like I told you last time, we lost some footage, so we're just gonna jump right into it and talk about what we got going today. This is our Dash 10 hose, simple nylon hose, not PTFE, nothing special, just a standard rubber hose with some nylon around it. This is better than a straight rubber hose, but it's not PTFE. So right now, we'll make up some of this stuff. These are my assorted fittings. This is some stuff for the AccuSump, check valve, a T. Yeah, pretty much everything to make the AccuSump work efficiently. I haven't decided whether or not I want to put it back in the car. I have had issues with low oil pressure due to running the AccuSump, but I don't know. Could have been aluminum block. I don't know. We'll see. So the objective today is pretty much to get these lines measured out and get them where we want them to go. I don't have the fire sleeve yet, so I'll end up making one side of the line, and then I'll leave the other side open until I get the fire sleeve. I can put the fire sleeve over it, and then I can finish up the line by just putting the fitting on the other end. That's why it's kind of nice this is not PTFE, because PTFE is kind of a nightmare, but it is top dog. If you can use PTFE, then use it. I'm trying to get all the safety stuff on here, so for right now, just so I can get the car running, I'll get this stuff on here, and then I'll put the PTFE stuff on here, because I want this car to be, you know, as efficient as possible and to be as safe as possible. Yeah, so let's show you what we've got. Got a straight 45 up here. Got a 45. I was gonna put a straight here, but I decided to do 45 because it would have been too kinked and resting on this a little too much. So I figured we'll turn down. We'll have it down here, high enough to be above the motor, but not so high that it'll actually hit the turbo over there. And then this is the end. So it'll come from the motor of a T, a check valve. I'm sorry. It'll come from the motor. It'll come into this, straight into this, out of this into the cooler, out of the cooler, under here, and then into a check valve, and then into a T, and then the other side of that T is going to have the AccuSump, and the other side of the T will go back into the motor. I think I'm going to put a ball valve on the AccuSump because, like I said, I've had issues with it being low pressure running it. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to put it on there. If it works out, great, we'll run it. If not, we just won't run it. But like I said, objective today is to get these lines made up, at least one side of it. It'll have a fitting on it. I'll have my length, and then once the fire sleeve comes in, we'll finish them. Getting there. So let me quit jibber jabbering. I've got the fittings already figured out on the car, so it's just a matter of me getting some lengths together, cutting the fittings, and then starting. Maybe I'll get you some footage on it without just making lines and putting them on the car, so we'll see. So let's commence. Like I said, these lines have to come back out. And since the lines have to come back out, they're just kind of sitting there. So I got some clamps to clamp the lines together. I got some clamps to mount them against the chassis. They'll get sleeved with fire sleeve, not the DEI wrap, but actual sleeve. Yeah, I know the wrap's probably a little cheaper to like wrap it, but the reality is, like, the sleeve is, I think it's superior to that wrap, to be honest with you. So we'll do that. I wrote a list of things I got to do, starting with resealing this air compressor I got, because in another video, this 6.0 that I got right here, I'm gonna clean, paint, and build a short block of that 6.0. So we'll be doing that. Let's see here. So I have a list of things right there. Not a great list, but we got coolant overflow, water pump, cover oil lines, mount oil lines. Let's see, ball valve for AccuSum, coolant lines, spark plug wires, new hardware, and then I got bullets for hardware. We got masters, line, oil cooler, intercooler, fill pressure regulator, shock towers, and exhaust manifold. Those bolts all need to be replaced. They're all there, with the exception of maybe one or two of those things, but I want to replace those bolts so it looks a little better and they're just better bolts. We got turbo mount. Everything's already mounted, but I want to make it structural, not just everything, you know, relying on the strength of the headers. Strength of header is not always great. Maybe it'll make these China headers last a little bit longer rather than having all this weight on the welds. Things always crack. We can deal with a crack, but if they just like tear the metal, then that's not good. So got to get the weight off. We got two pieces of hardware that need to go in the oil pan, cam sensor. We either replace the sensor or figure out how to reinstall it. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Ever have like a swollen cam sensor that kind of really didn't fit in the hole? Is that a problem? Do I need to replace it? What? Let's see. Crossover pipe. I know the crossover pipe is kind of an issue. I haven't really talked about this, and yes, I did weld this up, but I did it with limited parts. So like that part right there, you see how the wastegate goes like that way? Wastegate kind of needs to point that way. So in the direction of the gas is coming out, or have the wastegate point that way. But it needs to be in the direction of the gases coming out of that side. Will it make boost creep? On my motor, I don't know. Will a setup like that generally cause a little boost creep? Probably. We do have a wastegate on the other side, but that's for the other bank, the other 4 cylinders. So these are 42 millimeter or 44 millimeter gates. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I'm just not sure. So anyways, so I got the starter. It's already sat under the car. Starter sat under the car. Yeah, I don't have a lift. I ain't fancy. So you got the mounts in, which we also have to reinforce the outside. There are a few things that need to be cleaned up. For the most part, everything's really clean under here right now. There's my beautiful downpipe I TIG and MIG'd on. Like I said, everything on this car is practice, but we're learning. She in there. She'd be adjusted a little bit, but she in there. It's very difficult to get a 4-inch downpipe in there and make it look good. But yeah, our starter, I started the bolts. I got a spacer up top that I actually have to move out of the way so I can get this bolt in, and then I can just drive her up. My objective is to get like all this hardware that's missing back in here, and then you know, we'll just do things step by step. Then once everything is together per my list, then we can go back and clean little things up. Like I said, the under this car, it's pretty clean, but some of this stuff is like still dirty, crap on it. I want to get that stuff off, and then I want to respray it, and then, you know, fix a couple things. Like, that's not pretty. These are really good, phase 2 motoring, but like the powder coat's coming off, so we'll repaint those. I'm gonna cap this and brace this because it used to have a crossover right there, like a little cross member, but I cut it out. You know, I built mounts for this car before they even made mounts for an LS and the SC. So this was, you know, my doing. You know, I did the trans mount back there, which also needs to be stripped and redone. this car has been running with an LS in it for, shit, I want to say maybe like 8 years now. No, not that long. Yeah, maybe yeah, like 8 years now. Maybe a little longer than that. Maybe 10. Anyways, it's in there. I got a little bit of work to do, so I'll get this work done and then I'll show you where I'm at. And that is your 1-inch DEI fire sleeve part number. It showed up. Fancy. All right, so I got one line off already, one end open. All the lines that are dressed on here all have one end open. So I'm gonna cut the sleeve to length and slide it over this guy. All right, we got our length. We're only gonna go probably about to the halfway point on the fitting. And let's do some YouTube magic. And there you go. I got our line put together. Look at that. That's a beauty right there. That's one expensive line and it ain't PTFE. But it'll do the job. When I eventually go PTFE, if I decide to, I can still reuse this sleeve. I bought 25 feet worth of it. It's got to cover 3 lines, and I got like 15 feet worth of line to cover. So I think right now I'm gonna call it a night, and tomorrow I'll recommence with some more of this. Okay, so update. Got the oil lines on. So, let's see what we got going under the car. Alright, so there's the check valve setup, the T going back in, and then the end of it capped, and this over here goes to the AccuSump. So T is capped, this is where the AccuSump will go. This line is filthy on the inside because it's really just been sitting on the bottom of the car. So this is the return back into the block. Check valve. This is our block where we're gonna run our oil to the turbo. Yes, I know it's on the return. Whatever. Anyways, what else we got? So that's what we're looking like right now. Next step is to try to finish off some other little things that may be leaks. Get some wiring on this car and then see if we can get started. Yeah, biggest thing is I gotta get some electrical to it. So since I'm down here, I gotta do another turbo return line. So it's too long now because I changed the oil pan. I was eating ice cream, so excuse me if I got stuff on my face. What else? What else? So I gotta sleeve that. I gotta cut a new length. I might as well do, well, not as might as well, I gotta do the electrical for the power wire for the starter. I gotta get the heat blanket put on the starter. It's just sitting up there.
Gotta get that wrapped around there, but I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with my power first. Once I figure that out, then I can move forward, but I want to try to get that done today. So if I can get the starter situated, I can at least put oil in it and get some oil pressure. But I gotta get, like I said, I gotta get the turbo fed and then drained. Once I take care of that, we'll be good. I will have to redo it because that line for the turbo is too long. I can redo the drain right now, but I don't have the line for the feed, and I'm gonna use the TurboSmart oil pressure regulator so I don't destroy my turbo. Yeah, things just seeing way too much oil pressure. So anyways, on to the next.